Hello my friends, today I'm coming to you with a Photoshop trick. I wanted to show you how to create this cool snake effect. Sometimes if you have a boring background, this can help you elevate your product photography. This effect is very simple. As you can see, that was just one simple brush stroke, and I will show you how to set this up, and you can get to do this very easily with no Photoshop experience at all. So I'm going to delete these layers and we'll start from the beginning. We'll also do a few different images and I will show you a few different settings that will give you a completely different result. So this is my image, and the first thing I want to do is separate my bottle from the background. For that, I will take this object selection tool and I will just draw a rectangle around my bottle and that will make a selection. Another easy way to do it is just to go to select and click on subject, and Photoshop will select the subject for you. With this selection active, I will just do Command J to put it on its own layer. Now I will click on my background and make a new blank layer. On this layer, I will go into my mixer brush. So if you see here, this is the mixer brush, the one with the little, teardrop. And then here we need to change some settings. Make sure you have a hard brush, hardness at 100%. Then make sure you click on this brush over here that has the little slash on it. Then you have to be onto the dry heavy load. The load is 100%, flow is 100%, and this I have it at 11%. Yours is probably at 10 because that's what the default setting is. So now with my blank layer selected, first I want to hold down Option and take a sample. I will take a sample of this neck of the bottle because I think that's pretty interesting. And once you took that sample, you will see your sample over here. This is what I selected. Now with this selection, all I need to do is just drag my brush across the image, and there you go, I have a snake. So now we're gonna do a few different variations of this. There's one other settings that you can do. Let me just delete this. Actually, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna disable it and make a new blank layer. If you go into your brush settings over here into the brush properties, if you don't see your brush properties, brush settings, click on Windows and go to click on brush settings so you can see them. And here you see I have spacing at 10%. Yours is probably at 14% or so. I think that's the default. So change it to 10% if you want to have the effect I just showed you. And then look what happens if I move my spacing at 1%. So now with the spacing at 1%, that's the only change I will do. You see I still have the sample selected from before, and now when I draw my snake, you will see it will go a lot slower, but it goes a lot smoother, so it doesn't have that zigzag look. And this is a completely different look than the one before. Let's let this complete and we'll see what the difference is like. And then I'll show you a few different images and different techniques to get different results. So you see how smooth the lines are in here, and the faster you drag the brush across the image, the smoother it is. We'll let this finish. It takes a lot longer because, the spacing, it's a lot closer. So there you go. Let's see. So this is the jiggity one. This is where the brush spacing was at 10%, and this is the one where it was a 1%. So let's do one more and do an even bigger spacing. So I'm going to disable that one. If I go into my brush settings and I do the spacing, let's say 20%. If I go at 20%, let's see what kind of result we get here. So you see even more zigzagging. So it's just a preference. Which one do you like? I'm going to keep mine at 9-10%. I think I like that one the best. Now let me show you a different technique. I'm going to use this image. For this image, I want to select just this apple with the hands. I'm going to make my brush just a little bit bigger and click and select this. And you see I have the selection over here. So I did the same thing here. I separated the subject from the background. And now I will paint with this. And now I can just go to something like this where you stop and you can see your logo over there. And now I can do something like this and I get another logo over there. And that's different. Let's make a new layer and change the spacing on this one to 1%. So with the spacing at 1%, now I can do this and you can see it's a lot smoother. but I do like to keep the logo onto the image. If I drag it completely out of the image, then we'll not see the logo. We will see just the, snake, black and white part of the image. So sometimes this smooth snake, it's really cool as well. I can mix both of them together. So let's make a new layer and go into the brush settings and change the spacing now to, let's say, 8%. And now I can make another snake that has zigzaggy. And you can see that could be cool too. Now, what happens if let's take a different example just so we don't get bored of that. I already separated the subject from the background. I made a new layer. So let's see what happens if we get the wet. You see wet is at 0%. What happens if I get the wet at 100%? Let's take a sample of this logo over here and let's do some squiggles. So you see if your wetness it's 100%, it kind of blurs all the colors together. Imagine a wet brush when you're painting. It just kind of blends everything and smears them together. As I reduce the wetness, you should see I'm getting more and more clear. Now, if I take the wetness down to, 0, we are getting a lot more clear snake. So let me delete this layer, make it a new layer. I'm going to show you one other little trick you can do. So now I'm going to sample again. I'm going to sample this logo over here. Hold down Option, sample the logo. And you see the logo, it's very small. So if I just draw, it's kind of small for this image. So I'm going to delete this one, make a new layer. But now, because I already sampled this logo, now I can just increase the brush size and the whole logo thing is going to get big. So now if I go and draw, you see how big the logo is? So just because you're sampling from a small portion, that doesn't mean that you can draw only small things. So let's see if I take now a sample of this bottle here because it has a cool texture. Now I can make my brush bigger and I can do some crazy snake over here. I hope this was helpful and you learned something new. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Skyler Ewing and I'll see you in my next video.